Back at you with another video on the Mustang 2 with a 302 driveline and reinstall. This motor's been refreshed like I've said before. You can watch the previous past two parts on the channel. Go over just some of the stuff I've been doing to it, getting the motor and the trans back in. But as of right now, today we're going to be working on headers. Got them painted up. They look like they're going to fit good. I don't think I'm going to have to do a lot about the header stuff to make them work, but I think they'll work perfectly. What else we got? We need to do the belt system. I want to put the water pump on and the thermostat housing and all that on today. I want to put my heater hose lines on before I put the carburetor on, just so I know where everything's laying before I build my fuel line up, which I've talked about in a previous video about my fuel line and how I'm going to be running that. So that's where we're at. I'm going to show you the painted headers. I want you to see that the paint I use a VHT flame-proof paint to paint them. They came with temporary paint on them, and so I don't know if any of y'all have ever had to deal with a Mustang 2 with a 302 getting headers and leaving the stock exhaust manifolds, but they don't. Nothing works real well except for the headers for the car. Can't make nothing else fit. So ended up ordering these. These come apart. They're wild looking. I mean, there's one side I think comes apart in two spots, and then the other was one spot. I can't remember. I'll show you, but they're pretty neat and they're really nice. So hopefully they'll do the job right. But got that done. Got the last few things I believe painted that needed to be, and yeah, that's where we're at. Let me show you what those headers look like, and then we'll move from there. And I'm gonna try to record as much of today as I can. So stay tuned. This is gonna be hopefully a very productive day with the Mustang 2. So here we have power steering pump painted up. And then these are the headers. So as you can see, these like slip into these holes here, and then they meet up with the mating surfaces. But they're pretty nice. Like I said, they're in a flame-proof paint, so they shouldn't flake or anything. But there. Pretty nice, but we're gonna get these installed, see what they look like in the car. I think they're gonna look great. Pretty pumped about getting these in. They came in last week, but it's been pretty hectic around here, so let's get these in here. Let's see what they're looking like, see how they fit. That's what I'm really curious about, how they're really gonna fit up in there. I believe for the passenger side I'm gonna have to raise the motor just a hair to slip it past the head bolts, because it's like the mating surface is wanting to hit it, so it's not wanting to go up past it. So I'm gonna have to like kind of lift the motor just a hair. Might even only have to take out that side, but we'll see how that goes. And then but yeah, it's coming together, and hopefully everything turns out fine with the way that's all gonna go. And yeah, so let's see how this goes. Showing that we got the starter wire relocated here, running off the starter there. It goes under the frame rail, neoprene ring held down. It goes up the frame rail, in loom all the way. Sorry, my light went off. In neoprene ring, loom all the way up into a grommet, as you can see there. And it's loomed through the grommet. And then I still have to kind of clean it up on the top side, but I'm just showing you the bottom view of it right now. But it'll be held down here, and then that's running to the starter cylinder. The headers will be going on next. I had to fix a spot on one of them, and that's why they're not on just yet. But yeah, so that's where we're at. The headers look like they're gonna fit perfect though, being taken apart the way they are. But like I said, they're getting the paint's drying on them right now, so I just couldn't stand that one scratch. But all right, after that we'll get the water pump on and, like I said, do the belt stuff.
Got the driver's side header installed, all pieced together. Now whenever it goes to the exhaust shop, we'll have the exhaust guy weld it, because he'll already be under there with a welder, but we'll have him weld up where this front pipe meets into the collector down there. But they're bolted in tight, looks great. Got the header paint on it, looks pretty good against the blue. Got the passenger side up in here. It's not bolted in, but it's just the two center pipes. The rear and front go in separately and then go into the collector. So there's that. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'll probably toss one more bolt in this header just so it doesn't fall or anything. But then I'm gonna raise the motor up and take the motor mounts out. And I'm taking the motor mounts out because these are actually the original ones that are on it right now. And we had to order so that you couldn't hardly ever find these motor mounts for this exact car with this engine. So we ended up finding a website, I cannot remember the name of it, and ordered a rebuild kit for these. And I'm gonna tear these apart and put on the new bushings in them. And it'll actually probably raise the engine just a hair, but it'll give it the right height it needs, and it'll really make sure we have no header issues, which we're not having header issues, but say you were, they say you can do this rebuild kit and it'll help with header fitment issues. So let's dive right into that and see what that's going to entail. We have the motor mounts out of the Mustang 2 here. I ended up using a screw jack just to lift the motor back up. So what I was saying was, these are the stock, I say the previously used motor mounts. There is some dry rot in the rubber, so these definitely needed replaced. I mean, I say definitely, they probably really didn't. They were holding up, but they for sure sagging a little. You know, the motor sits in a little deeper, stuff like that. And you know, we wanted it right, but so anyway, this motor mount's actually fairly difficult to find. We found one company that actually sells them, and they were quite expensive, but they also sell a rebuild kit for the ones you have. And the ones we have, the metal is fine. It looks like it's all going to be good. And here's the blocks. And they're like I don't know exactly what they are made out of, but I don't know what material this is, but it's like a very hard rubber, very hard. And they're pretty nice though. They're all machined perfectly. You can see that real well. Come with the hardware to mount it to it. Big Allen head, large nylon nut with the lock washer to not have any chance of backing off and your motor coming loose, your engine coming loose. So this is going to be me showing how to change these out. It came with steps, good instructions on how to do it. They say you can go to their website and find even better instructions. So this is going to be pretty neat. We're now going to be cutting the rivets off of the engine mounts, both engine mounts. Now you should be able to just push that through. Like so. Now we'll repeat that on the other side. Now I'm going to be taking this sharp scraper. I'm going to be trying to get off the lower clam first while it's still in the vise, and then I'll attack the rubber off the actual mounting bracket to the block. And I'm doing that so I'm not fighting this rubber off this smaller piece. As you can see, I've now removed the clam part of it. Came off fairly easy. So that worked out perfectly. I will now be removing the rubber that is on the bracket side of all this to the block. I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Removed the middle chunk of rubber. Places here. So throw that away. This one is for this side. Hole lines up quite nicely. So, everything looking good. Looks like it's going to line up perfectly. So, now we'll have to repaint these because they're getting scratched up and stuff in the vise. So, already get these cleaned up, painted, and then assemble them. Because I would not want I don't want the new blocks and new hardware to be covered in black paint. So that's how I feel about that. But that went pretty well. I think since I'm going to be painting it anyway, I think I might just rubber or wire wheel off the rest of the rubber that's on this and clean them up. Prep them, get them ready for paint. So yeah. Now I'm gonna go ahead and break apart the other side. Alright, so we got the motor mounts tore apart. They're looking great. They're gonna get prepped up. All the rubber's gonna get taken off of them tomorrow. I'm gonna prep them, paint them, assemble them with the new blocks and the new hardware. They're gonna look great when they go in. They'll look better than brand new. This is actually a rebuild kit. I told you that already, but I figured I'd tell you again. It comes with great instructions, and yeah, I like it a lot. ClassicAutoReproductions.com is where we purchased them from, and they're pretty nice. This is like something, this has been cut out of the machine, but they look pretty good, and but yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. That'll be the end of part 3. The headers being put on, motor mounts being disassembled. Part 4, we'll have them reassembled and stuff like that. So we will come back at you tomorrow with another part.